Let's talk about something that slips through the cracks in mainstream debates. Who's actually writing the rules that shape our freedoms? I'm talking about the Patriot Act, the NDAA of 2012, and the so-called New Rules of War from 2014. These aren't just laws, they're blueprints for how power gets used and abused inside America. Now, if you follow the paper trail, a lot of these ideas didn't just spring up in Congress overnight. They trace back to the Heritage Foundation and other influential think tanks, many with deep Zionist roots. These groups have been quietly crafting policy behind closed doors, pushing for things like mass surveillance, censorship, and military spending that benefits Israeli tech companies over American innovators. Pause and think about that. Billions in taxpayer dollars flow to subsidize Israeli startups, while American students drown in debt, and families fight just to afford healthcare. Israel gets universal healthcare, free college, and access to specialized financial tools, things out of reach for most Americans. Ever heard of Jewish loans? It's a term for targeted financial assistance that isn't even on the table for the average US citizen. Meanwhile, Hollywood's rise, a story powered by Eastern European immigrant money, created a media landscape where a handful of gatekeepers call the shots. And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Kanye West, not always the best messenger but definitely not wrong on everything, tapped into something real when he talked about corporate domination by a select few. That message resonated with millions of young people who see the doors to power and success slammed shut. But let's be clear, this isn't about blaming groups, it's about following the money and power. Hitler's regime was evil because it ran a brutal police state, censorship, checkpoints, surveillance, racial privilege. And here's the twist. Norman Finkelstein, in the Holocaust industry, argues that some who profit from that legacy have adopted similar tactics: walls, checkpoints, and an artificial ruling class, this time to protect their own technocratic oligarchies. So, what does it mean when the same surveillance states and double standards are exported elsewhere, especially by those who once suffered under them? We end up with a society where the powerful write the laws, choose the winners, and leave the rest of us fighting for scraps. If you care about real freedom, you've got to look deeper than party politics. Ask who's writing the rules, who's cashing the checks, and why so many Americans feel like the American dream is locked behind an impenetrable wall. So what do you think? Is it time to rewrite the rules, and who should get a seat at that table?